Come to DSW for the shoes, stay for the fun. Because let's be honest, if shoe shopping isn't fun, are you even doing it right? So go ahead, try something new. Try something different. Good different. Try something that feels like you. You know, the real you. And then definitely brag about it later. Because at DSW, you've got unlimited freedom to play. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW. Let us surprise you.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Granger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Bleav.
Doesn't matter if you're an Indian or if you're a Warhawk.
The Uerland mention is the greatest. You'd hope for the best as a Uerland fan, but
this is the Bleav in the Warhawks podcast with hosts Dusty Thibodeaux and Chase Regian.
Chase, you always have such great insight.
Tibbs is going to bleep it all.
What are these guys always talking about?
We talk a lot about food on this podcast, and I'm going to continue to do so.
Really, really appreciative of the people and the community and the way that they've backed us up.
Nailed the introduction, by the way. Awesome.
Thanks,
I love
Fish.
it.
Chase, we're not talking football.
No, we're not. No, we need to avoid after this weekend a little bit.
I watched it. I wasn't real happy, but I also wasn't real disappointed with it. There were some takeaways.
Yeah, I was on I was at a wedding. I technically wasn't at a wedding. We had the bride and groom did a lake day, so we had no service, but I was refreshing the stats, and we go up 7-0, and I might have had a few beverages, so I start screaming around the party barge there. I screamed that we want Texas. So my wife and I started chanting, "We want Texas." Helps that we were in Lake Travis with a bunch of Texas fans. We want Texas. And then I started screaming, "We want Bama." And then they all started screaming the score at me once it became 42-7. So it happens.
Yeah, you didn't miss much. But I will say this, Nick Trujillo, fantastic, absolutely fantastic debut.
Yeah.
First ever catch as a Warhawk as a touchdown. What more could you want?
More could you want? Excited to see what he could do in conference for sure.
What was your first play, Chase? I mean, did you do your assignment? Did you do your job?
First play was against Wake Forest. I got lost, ended up cutting a guy. Second play, I got poked in the eye. So maybe. I don't think great. I don't think it was awesome, if I'm being honest. I think it was just kind of took up space and tried to tackle a guy. So I played O-line. So it was really the story of a really not historic career. So.
Sounds like my first time ever playing varsity basketball. My coach, for some reason, thought I was the free throw guy. We had the technical foul, so he grabs me to sub me in. Airball, baby.
Airball, baby. You a basketball fan, Tibbs?
Yeah, I am. And you know what? I'm excited. I mean, I'm obviously excited to see what Phil can do this year. I think we had a little glimpse last year when he was on the sidelines. But we got a new team, a new coach, a new attitude. One of my favorite coaches because this guy is straight up ADD like me, and I love it. And that is the one, the only Scotty Fletcher who joins us. Welcome in there, Coach.
What's up, baby?
Says AD Coach. I've heard some great things about you, man. I've heard practice is really interesting. You a high energy guy there at practice?
Yes, sir. I am. I a little speechless after that one, but nobody's ever looked at me and said, "Man," my players get tickled when I tell them this, but nobody's ever looked at me and said, "Man, I bet that was a heck of a basketball player," when they look at me. So I've got to be bouncing off the walls, but it is funny when I do demonstrate a dribbling drill or a passing drill or a shooting drill, the girls are like, okay. So it kind of riles them up a little bit, but yes, sir, I'm bouncing off the walls, my man.
So you still got the skills?
Yes, sir. I do.
Hell yeah. Yes, sir, I do.
Yes,
Hell
sir.
yeah, coach. Come on.
I'm not going to challenge him because I know for sure I don't have them anymore. I'd be lucky to be able to dribble, let alone do any kind of cut or any kind of offense there that we would run back in the day. And obviously, I just told on myself that I wasn't that great of a free throw shooter. So I'm definitely the wrong guy for you there, Coach. I hate to say it.
That's okay. I'm definitely built like a catcher and a fullback. But when we always had our student faculty basketball games, it was always, I got the most comical when I would cross somebody up or fake a pass. It was always, a little, it was a little bit, got the last laugh, if you will.
It's not a laughing matter, though, Coach. You inherited a team that had a lot of expectations and really maybe fell a little short, but they were still a pretty good team. I mean, making it to the quarterfinals last year, but you inherit kind of the bare cupboard, and you got to build your own roster. You got to build this team up. What's these first few months on the Bayou been like for you as you kind of go through that exercise?
Well, first and foremost, I guess I got to give a huge shout out to the community. And I mean that when I tell you everybody, and, I was visiting with you about this before we came on air, and then Chase, I'll tell you this too, but the community has been phenomenal. I've been playing tennis, in the evenings and met a lot of awesome people, but everybody here has been so welcoming, phenomenal. The support has just been, overpouring. There's a lot of positive energy here. Obviously there's some change, but you can feel the energy, man, and it's contagious. So as it relates to just getting in the community and being involved, everybody's been first class. As it relates to recruiting and just our workload, I honestly, and I think you both can appreciate this, and I say this, but I mean this from the bottom of my heart. When I tell you I felt like a football coach, when I tell you we watched players from sun up to sundown and evaluated so many players, and, you hear that, but, man, we looked at so many players from morning to night, weekends, had a lot of visits come in. And so that was the biggest thing. We just hit the ground running because, as you know, recruiting's like shaving. You got to do it every day or you end up looking like a bum. And so we wanted to take that approach in terms of just being relentless on the recruiting trail and trying to identify our brand and make the ULM brand even more impressive to those out there that are serious about women's basketball.
Coach, I'm sure you've watched recruiting change a lot during your time as a coach. How do you do that stepping into a program like this? Are you looking for other, universities? Are you going JUCO routes? You going high school? Where do you start with that?
Well, I've always been a guy, and this is the Mississippi Junior College Association had limited resources compared to our other peers. And what I mean by that is we had limited out-of-staters. So that meant our roster had to be consolidated of 12 players from the state of Mississippi. So we're only allowed to have 3 out-of-staters. Well, now you give someone the whole world to recruit, right? So now my eyes light up like a Christmas tree. But I will say this, and no knock to Mississippi, but it prepared me for opportunities like this. And this is what I mean. So obviously the Pavia rule really helped us out. We had 3 players that were at different institutions that played for us at Pearl River that were granted another year. So we had to take advantage of that. So we had a kid that transferred from St. Louis at 20 rebounds in a game, turned down a lot of money, a lot of big P4 schools to come here. Won the WNIT as a junior at St. Louis. So she'll anchor us in the middle. We had a really good guard that was, all conference, all region, honorable mention All-American. Jamani Ingram played at App State, had a lot of success in this league. So we were able to get her back. She went through 2 different coaches, some coaching changes there at App State. She fits my style of play and our system. We fit her. Didn't even take a visit. As soon as we got the job, she's the first one said, I'm all in. And then we got another kid from Charleston Southern who was their best player that also played for us at Pearl River. So that helped us out from the gates. And then we had 2 kids from our from our team that were at Pearl River that were recruited heavily from this league. They said the day I announced the job at Pearl River that I was taking the ULM job, they texted me and said, Coach, I'm going with you. So right there, we were able to get 5 right off the bat. That kind of helped the recruiting process. And to be honest with both of you guys, Chase, Tibbs, I honestly was a little bit worried that may hurt us because everybody may think, well, he's getting all of his former players. But in hindsight, it really helped us. Everybody brought that up about the volumes that it spoke for those girls to reunite with myself and Coach Mack, who's been with me 5 years now. And so that spoke volumes to not only, what they thought of us, but what we thought of them. But our players that we recruited to join that actually saw that as a positive. And so that helped us with recruiting as well. So that was something that I was a little bit hesitant about. And then I think you got to think about where you are. So, for example, with the Pavia rule and the NIL structure changing, we wanted to try to get as old as we could be in this 1 year and play the rules to our advantage. For example, you go take a high school kid in year one. You develop that kid. That kid's probably not going to be as good as she needs to be in year one as she will be in year 3 or 4. You with me? So we said, okay, we're going to go out here and get these girls that have the last year of eligibility. This time last year, they thought this was it. They thought they were going into their senior year. So now we wanted to recruit a kid that had been granted another year of eligibility. They were on their way out, and they were going to appreciate it, and not take it for granted. So that's how we tried to build this team. We wanted to try to get it. Yes, we're brand new. We have 14 brand new players, but we intentionally recruited kids that had graduated already or needed only 1 year to finish up graduation, and they could meet degree requirements here at ULM. And we went all in with those kids, and luckily they bought into our vision, and they fit what we're looking for in our style of play.
How much of a challenge was that? Because like you said, you're getting people from the junior college ranks, other D1 programs. And while a lot of them kind of have that familiarity with you and the program, the way you run it, not all of them are necessarily knowledgeable of what Scotty Fletcher wants. So how do you start instilling that togetherness and that culture in the locker room?
Yeah, that's a great question. And to be honest with you, I asked a lot of people when I got this job that were current head coaches and some former head coaches, and a lot of coaches in this league, just because they had recruited our kids at Pearl River. And so, it seemed to me that every head coach kept saying the two same things: make sure you get your staff right, and then double down on whatever got you there. And luckily, I didn't really hear a new message, if you will. So that was good for me, because I thought maybe I was missing something. And I'm always going to challenge myself to try to grow to be the best person, to be the best husband, to be the best father, to be the best coach that I can be. So I'm not afraid to ask people for help and advice. What would you do different in year one? What would you do different? And just seeing things firsthand. But the biggest thing is selling a vision of my life story and the things that I've had to overcome to get to where I am. And I've had a lot of people that believed in me and a lot of people that invested in me. And a lot of times broken people want to share their stories with broken people and help people. And more times than not, people want to help you and they believe in you. And we've just shared a vision that, hey, man, we're going to help you. It's not just going to be for this 1 year that we're together, but it's for life. And I think it helped because we had those girls that transferred back here, and they were able to help recruit for us. So honestly, it was like having 5 additional staff members on our staff and on my staff with those former players that could tell them, I've been somewhere else. I played for other coaches. This is what Coach Fletcher's about. And as we all know, sometimes coaches can tell lies, but at the end of the day, recruits, they don't lie to recruits. At the end of the day, they're going to be transparent. They're going to be honest. Hey, this is how he's going to do it. This is how we do it. This is why we do it. And this is why it's been successful. So I always tell people, if you want to know what it's like to play for me, there's 5 girls, go ask them. And every one of them is going to have a different answer. But at the end of the day, there's going to be some common core that, hey, this is what we do and this is why we do it. And love is the biggest thing.
Love that, Coach. And sounds like same culture, new gym, right? Which is a pretty cool thing. I want to ask, this is kind of the specifics of what you do, but I've asked a lot of coaches on this podcast, when you're constructing a roster, how many people do you want and how do you construct that roster? You get what I'm asking? Like how many 5s do you want? How many guards do you want, et cetera, et cetera?
Absolutely. That's a great question. A lot of people don't think about that, but I want 5 posts, 10 guards. And that's just that simple. We got 15-man roster. Some coaches like to have 12 or 13 and practice players and all. At the end of the day, I just think for growing the brand of ULM within itself and ULM women's basketball, I want 15 if I can have it every year. And the reason for that is to grow and touch different communities, different states, and continue to grow our brand. But I do want 5 post players and 10 guards. And in case someone gets injured, there you've got you want twice as many guards, because there's obviously 3 guards on the perimeter and 2 posts inside. Then I want our post to be versatile. I want at least 2 point guards in every program. Your ones can play twos, but not all twos can play ones. So that's something that's very important to us as well. But I think we have to have depth and quality depth. One thing about me, my college coach used to always say 8 players are going to get the majority of minutes. When you look at us, we play everybody. And with the way we press, the way we trap, I just think it's so important to have quality depth to rotate your girls in throughout the longevity of a season and to play at such a high level.
It brings me to my next question is, what can fans expect? What kind of offense do you want to run? What kind of team do you want to be? Like, what's your identity? What do you want your identity to be on the court?
Well, first thing is I want us to be tough to beat. And I want us to be a very defensive-minded team that plays very aggressive. You're a football guy. I know you said you played O-line, but I guess my thing is, man, when you came off that ball, there was a way you hit and made contact. And in defense, a team that, would blitz every down, if you will, I just think makes people put in a position to be tough to read the defense and challenge them to where they're not in flow offensively. But I think the biggest thing is we got to play as hard as we can play. We got to be locked in on the defensive end. Our goal is to be one of the top, if not the best defensive team in our league. We got to rebound the ball at both ends of the floor at such a high level. I'm a little bit old school. I do want to play fast. When we have numbers and we create live ball turnovers, I want us to play fast and play free when you have those numbers and look to score and take advantage. Obviously, when the defense is set up and we got to execute, we got to be able to execute at a high clip. So our attention to detail, the way we screen, the way we cut, the way we communicate, all those things are so important. And I Bleav you have to do it at 100 miles an hour because the tougher it is when you got stationary feet, those are the easiest feet to guard. But I want to be a team that plays fast up and down the court, continues to push the ball in transition, and then we change defenses constantly to keep the offense off rhythm. And hopefully when someone pays the price of admission, they'll say, man, that was a good brand of basketball. We want to come back and watch them again.
I know everybody loves their kids the same, their coach. But out of the 15, who's maybe the player that we should keep an eye on and the one that maybe impressed you the most that you were like, we'll take them and they're good, but man, she really started shining for me?
Man, there's a few of them. I think, if you start Markavia Shavers is just a special soul. Her nickname's Nook. That's the one that came from St. Louis. And the reason why
my next question asked, was it Nook or Nuke?
Yeah, it is Nook. It is Nook.
Very cool.
I do like Nukes though. But anyways, but Nook, man, let me tell you a neat story about Nook. So her freshman year, she shows up at the house on campus at Pearl River, knocks on the door. My wife goes, there's somebody at the door. I said, well, answer it. So we lived on campus. We open the door. She comes in, which she was a regular at the house. And she says, hey, coach, I bought you some shoes. I said, you bought me some shoes? She's like, yeah, I saw these at the mall. They look like the ones you coach in. And, man, that touched me for an 18-year-old kid to stop at the mall and use her own money to buy me a pair of shoes. And so for the last 4 years, I've coached in those same pair of shoes. And I call them my lucky shoes, and I'll coach every game in them this year. You better Bleav it, especially, how cool is that she's back with us. But she's somebody, man, that just has a heart like no other. She loves people. She cares about people. I told that story to a coach, a P4 coach that was recruiting her, and that coach made a comment. And they said, well, I guess that's why you started her. And it kind of bothered me because she didn't even start that night. And I was like, man, you ain't even paid attention, So she actually enjoyed coming off the bench so she wouldn't get an early foul. But she's somebody that's near and dear to my heart. Jamani Ingram is someone that I'm just telling you, man, she is just a pit bull and a bulldog with the way she attacks, the way she's fearless and aggressive at it, get to the paint and scoring, her ability to make other people better. And then I would say Nakaya, Prince, man, she's played at Georgia Southern last year, almost played 1,000 minutes in this league, had almost 80 steals. She's quick, she's fast, she can score at all 3 levels. she has really impressed me day to day with her growth, especially at being an itty bitty guard. But she's had a lot of success as well. So she's been someone that has really stuck out to me.
She's a Chicago girl. You know she's tough.
That's right. That's right. Hey, and listen, one thing about that, she just got baptized last week at FCA. We had 3 girls that got baptized at FCA, and she was one of the 3, and she spoke about that growing up in Chicago and how tough it was. So that was really cool.
Fantastic. Well, Coach, we're 30 days or just under 30 days from tip-off. Your first 5 games are at home. How exciting is it that, A, you get to tip off in that MAC Sunbelt Challenge there against Eastern Michigan, Louisiana Tech, and Grambling? You get to establish your dominance along I-20 just to tip off the season.
Well, we're excited. Obviously, we have a very challenging non-conference schedule, and that's by design. But at the end of the day, man, I just think with us trying to identify who we are, we got to continue to focus on ourselves. A lot of respect for all of our opponents, a lot of great coaches that have won at such a high level and done a phenomenal job where they're at. So we're excited, and all I ask is that if everybody will just come out and give us a chance to impress you, I promise you that we won't waste your time. And that's as nice as I can put it. Regardless of the scoreboard, regardless of the outcome, we're gonna play to our standard and hope that everything follows and takes care of itself. But it is nice to open up at home. Eastern Michigan, man, they got a talented post player back. Really, 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 really good. Average double-double. We started watching film this summer and tried to get ahead with our scouting reports when we had some downtime. And so everybody's a challenge. And every game brings a game within itself. So we got to be prepared to make adjustments and execute the way we can.
Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime Video. This week, it's a rivalry renewed as the Philadelphia Eagles take on the New York Giants. This primetime battle between the Eagles and the Giants will bring intense grit and hard hits. Can the New York Giants find a way to stop Philadelphia quarterback Jalen Hurts from getting outside the pocket with big runs and throws down the field? It's a game that could shift the balance of power in the NFC East, and you don't want to miss it. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with football's best party, TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. Not a Prime member? Not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial. It's the Eagles and the Giants, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Prime Video. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
Come to DSW for the shoes, stay for the fun. Because let's be honest, if shoe shopping isn't fun, are you even doing it right? So go ahead, try something new. Try something different. Good different. Try something that feels like you. You know, the real you. And then definitely brag about it later. Because at DSW, you've got unlimited freedom to play. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW, let us surprise you.
Confronting high credit card debt can feel scary. But the good news is, if you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, financial relief options are now available. National Debt Relief is currently offering debt relief designed to reduce what you owe, fast-tracking your way to being debt-free. If you qualify for debt relief, you may be able to pay back significantly less than what you owe and save thousands of dollars. Imagine only paying one low monthly program payment you can afford and saving money as you become debt-free. National Debt Relief has already helped bring debt relief to over 550,000 U.S. consumers, earning thousands of 5-star reviews and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. You're stronger than your credit card debt. Take the first step and visit nationaldebtrelief.com to see what debt relief you qualify for. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
Do you like that, having kind of 5 out of the gate at home and then 6 straight on the road? Or would you almost kind of rather have a home away, or some kind of middle ground?
Middle ground for sure. I mean, obviously, I guess with at the end of the day, we got to play what we got to play and do what we got to do. But I would like for there to be a little bit of, maybe 2 home, 1 away, or that is a little bit of a gauntlet when you play those 5 and then you go on the road for 6. Then you open up, obviously conference on the road as well. But I always say, man, we've got to really focus, Tibbs, on being the best team. And I mean the best team. And the best teams, therefore, you got to be the best teammate. And the teams that normally get the most done, they're not worried about who gets the shine. who gets the stats, who gets the limelight. And I think I saw a stat the other day. Did y'all see that with baseball? Was somebody won? Did y'all see that the other day? It was in the playoffs where somebody just put somebody out and they talked about how their roster was X amount, millions of dollars.
Mets.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
they didn't even make the postseason.
There you go. So we just got to be, look, and hopefully at the end of the day, as a head coach, your team takes on your personality, and I hope they take on my personality and with toughness. They've displayed that. We do have a scrimmage coming up, close scrimmage with Central Arkansas. So we'll see how we, match up against somebody else as well.
It's not time to start voting yet, but it's coming up. How do you see this league overall kind of falling when that initial preseason poll falls?
Well, I'm the newest. I'm the only, change. Obviously Coach Bilderback was in the league, but I'm the only new kid on the block, if you will. So I think at the end of the day, man, I think the league, obviously James Madison has established themselves as one of the top teams in the league. You look at Troy and what they did last year, playing in the championship of the WNIT. I do think Southern Miss is going to be really good. I think, Old Dominion is another team that's going to be really good. So I think Arkansas State, has a lot of – so I think those are probably your top 5 teams just off the top of my head from looking at it. And I think App State, obviously Georgia, Southern had a good year, Georgia State. It's just a balanced league. And I'm not just saying that, but anybody can beat anybody on any given night. And I think it's a very tough and challenging basketball league. Even though James Madison goes undefeated in conference play last year, Arkansas State, which they did not play, they get them in the championship game in overtime. So I will say this, though, there's a lot of different styles of plays in this league. Marshall's more of a zone. I'll be interested to see if they play that same way this year. But there's, offensively, the philosophies are different, 1 through 15, and defensively the philosophies are different, 1 through 15. So I do think you're going to have to be able to adjust and to execute scout reports real quick as well.
Well, it sounds like a fun challenge that I'm glad you have, and I don't. Is there anybody this year that you're really looking forward to playing? Like, is there, something that Warhawk fans may not know about your coaching history or just in general that you're just excited to play against?
Man, that's a good one, Chase. It will be kind of cool, to go to Indiana and Clemson. And the thing about the Clemson game is we had a former player at Pearl River, second-team All-American, and she's playing there. So we were able to get that game. So it'll be kind of neat to see Taylor. Obviously, having to make a plan to stop her will be a challenge within itself. And, I was on the flip side. I was the one calling all the plays for her. So now to be trying to prepare a defense to stop her. But very proud of her and her success. She helped me and our program there at Pearl River tremendously. So a lot of respect for her and her family. And then just like I was telling Tibbs and being a basketball junkie and growing up, to take our team to Indiana just to see, I've watched the movie Hoosiers probably a million times. And so that'll be really, really cool for me, just being a basketball junkie, to be able to go up there to Bloomington and check that out. So I would say those two just to marks. Growing up in Mississippi, playing at State, that's my grandparents and a lot of family members were big Mississippi State fans. So that'd also be a neat deal for a kid that grew up on a gravel road, a dirt road with a ball in one hand and a dream in the other. That is pretty cool to be on the sideline at that spot.
The grind never stops, Coach. You got to start already trying to replace your roster before you even have the first game with them. What's kind of your approach to recruiting, knowing that, all right, we have our roster, we're good for this year, but kind of as that developing going forward, is it just a constant cycle of trying to go JUCO, or do you kind of see yourself going a little high school, a little JUCO transfers, or what's kind of your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, we want to get the best players and the right fit. And I know you say, all right, well, every coach says that. Well, and I mean that. I think right now with this era being so money hungry, and what I mean by that is our kids are seeing it at other conferences. You get what I'm saying? It's in your face every day on TV, in paper, social media. This kid's getting this kid's getting that. So I think you got to find the right fit. And I think you got to find a kid that's not chasing the dollar for sole purposes. And you say, well, there's not many of those left. But I think if you can, I really and truly still Bleav that you can build relationships. I think we got to hit the junior colleges extremely hard. And what you have to do sometimes is try to identify that kid that right now may not be getting a Sunbelt offer, but is definitely a Sunbelt player, and try to get them. If you wait too long also and try to say, okay, we're going to get this kid after their second year of junior college. Well, that kid may have played her way to another league. She may have played her way to the American. She may have played her way to the Big East, to the ACC. If they come here, just like Ahmad, I mean, look at football. Look at Ahmad. I mean, he played his way. He used it the right way and played his way up, right? So if you can identify one of those kids and use it as a trampoline, I think you got to be open to that and say, okay, look, come here, play your game. If you get marketed and you have the opportunity, go take advantage of it. I'm not going to stop you and hold you back. So I think we do have to identify the best players. We got to start in state. Obviously, Texas is a big state, but we got to recruit junior colleges really hard. And then I think the portal, man, is there's just so many kids, that may have went to I'm just going to use a Tulane, for example, and may get, 14 minutes a game. But if they came here, they may get 24 minutes a game. There's a big difference in that. So I think also just identifying that. And but we got to do – that's what we were used to at Pearl River, was flipping a roster and trying to get as many sophomores and bounce back kids, if you will, and super sophomores. We got to do the same thing here. Like Chase said, it's the same message, just a different gym. And our recruiting cycle's got to stay the exact same way. I am open-minded to high school players, but I do think that if a kid comes, for example, let's just say a kid comes out of high school to the Sun Belt and they get a little bit of playing time. Okay. If you look last year, Southern Miss had the freshman of the year. That girl leaves and goes to Western Kentucky. Okay. So I don't know if that would, she's from Kentucky. So obviously they didn't recruit her out of high school. She goes to Southern Miss, boom, she goes to Western Kentucky. Well, there wasn't a whole lot of freshmen in the league last year. When you look at the all conference teams, I think everybody was a junior and up, what they showed us in Florida. So I think you got to stay with what's winning the league and then what will help you win the league.
Very cool, Coach. I love that idea of embracing that. And I think that's Tibbs and I have talked about that extensively in throughout all of college athletics right now, of what an impossible task. I think people are figuring out, like yourself, of like, hey, this is the route we need to go. We need these types of players to fit this scheme. I just want to I don't have a question. I just have to tell you that, I'm in Fort Worth and Tibbs is in Houston. So if you ever need us to go watch a game, we're both huge basketball fans. We'll go and recruit for you. Just let us know, dude.
I appreciate that. Can I make one suggestion, though?
Maybe.
Well, no, I was just going to say, don't bring back somebody that shoots air balls at the tech. I'm sorry.
Always great talking to you there, Coach. So you mentioned the dollar chase, and this is something that I legit don't know. In football, we hear about the $1 million players and all that. What is the high level or the typical NIL deal for women's basketball?
Well, and there's different levels to it. That's a great question. But now with the rev sharing, right out the gate, those P4 kids, they're getting anywhere from $150,000 to $225,000 right out the gate, and because they've got to spend so much money. So that's what I'm saying. At that level, like we lost a kid this year, came on a visit, post player, lost her to the SEC, had a great visit. Well, they weren't recruiting. There was a change of a job. Somebody left the school, got a job in the SEC. This kid's, pretty much commits to us. And next thing you know, she calls and says, hey, I'm going to visit this school and another school in the Big East. And I'm like, look, man, you got to do it. And I said, look, go do it. If you don't like it, you got a pocket full of money, then you come back here. I mean, you know, and maybe you can get a bounce back kid by handling it the right way. And when those kids know that you have their best interest, you got to do it. But man, I just think even in our league, I think 50 to 75, you know, 25 to 40, you know, at some of the schools in the league. And the reason why I know some of those stats is because some of the schools in the league recruited our kids at Pearl River, and that's what they were offering. And I'm just like, man, and that's, you know, it's just, I don't know, man. It is a challenge, but to me, you can't make excuses. And I said this at my press conference. Some people want things to happen and other people make things happen. We're going to be a staff that makes things happen. We're not going to sit here and use it as an excuse. You know, winners win at the end of the day. That's it. And you can't talk winning with losers. So if people aren't like-minded and they don't want to grind and do it the right way, at the end of the day, you and I both know hard work beats great talent when great talent doesn't work hard. So I still think there's out there, at the end of the day, you're still dealing with human beings that want to have that human connection and someone that believes in them. And a lot of these kids, you know, don't have the financial advice and they're not getting the background of what to do with this money. You know, some of these kids, you know, they're not realizing when that next year rolls around, they got to pay taxes on all that. And they don't have any money to pay taxes. So these kids are leaving and they're going to another school just to get something to pay their taxes.
That's craziness. You got a new boss. He's a little busy right now, but he, you know, I'm sure makes some time there for you. What's it been like hanging out with Coach BV?
Man, he's been awesome. Seriously. I mean, you know, he, like I texted you earlier, he fights the same battles that we fight. He's on the ground with us. You know, we know what we're stacked up against as it relates to the others in this league. But he's the guy that will run through a wall for you and you'll run through a wall for him. You know, the biggest thing, and I'll never forget, my president at Pearl River told me whenever he named me AD at Pearl River, and this is not about me, but it's about the message that he taught me. He said, make sure when you go have your first head coaches meeting that those other head coaches know you're still one of them. Don't let them think that you're one of us. And I'll never forget that. And BV, to me, we know that he's one of us. Does that make sense? And he fights the same battles that we fight. He's on the ground with us. He's a soldier. He's been through it. You know, and when you've had other jobs and other opportunities, when you get certain jobs and you're surrounded with people like you guys in this community, and this is not lip service, man, this is from the heart. You want to fight like hell for those people. And those people are the same people are going to fight like you. So you embrace it. You're at a place that appreciates you. You appreciate them. And you and I both know when everybody's in the same boat and we're rowing at the same time, and we get to that same destination a lot quicker. So he's been phenomenal. I've only got one problem. I ain't got no problem.
Don't we all wish we had that?
Amen.
Amen.
So I know we're audio only, Coach, but you're rocking some of the new gear. You get to design uniforms. Tell us what these new uniforms are going to look like. Which branding did you go with?
So we mixed it up and went with a little bit of everything. You know, we do want to stay true to ULM and just the boot, the Bayou, but obviously the star, the Warhawks. There's a powerful meaning behind the message. And when you understand that, I just think it gives a little different meaning. You got to be fearless. And so at the end of the day, man, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the different designs. I wouldn't call myself a model by any means, but it is nice to put it on and show it off every day.
Did you happen to make any in a 2XL, Coach?
I got you, baby.
Come on. I've been begging for merch in this podcast. It's never worked.
He wears a schmedium. Don't let him fool you, Coach. He's schmedium.
I get it.
So, Coach, one thing we didn't mention on the schedule, the teddy bear game. I can only picture that this is a game where Chase gets rid of his Cayenne outfit, dresses up, and is dancing on the sidelines. Is that the intent of the game?
That is correct. That was the marketing. We've got him gold, maroon, and we got him a black slipper, and then we've got him a white one. So he'll be able to do the moonwalk for us. So, but no, this is something that's near and dear to my heart. And you and I were talking about this off the air. So, some people know my story. I lost both my parents at a young age, and man, I grew up and we had a house fire, and we were living in a place without running water and electricity, and having to take a bath in a creek. And I was a little kid, and I'll never forget that. And so the school that I was at really rallied behind us and got us collected some money and some clothes and some different things for us my family and myself to have a Christmas. And I didn't know if I was going to have one. And this happened right at November. So that was something that was near and dear to my heart, that my fellow classmates at such a young age and my teachers in the community really stepped up and kind of took care of one of their own. So I think it's a good way for us to be able to bless a child that's in need or may not expect to be getting something for Christmas. And then we'll make it a little bit more personal, but our team will participate and get a shoebox and go shopping for some young child that may not be getting something at Christmas, but to try to make and bless somebody else, because, I don't want to forget that part of my story. And it's something that's always stayed with me. So if there's ever a chance that I can give back to someone, I always want to do that. So we'll collect the teddy bears and include that with a shoebox, and we'll present them to a family or to a kid that's in need.
Absolutely amazing stuff. How can fans kind of contribute to that or to any of the other good deeds that your team's out doing?
The biggest thing is obviously if you can just show up and support and bring anything, and obviously we're going to try our best to get that message out, and what the meaning is behind it. But I just think at the end of the day, if they'll come to the game and bring that teddy bear or bring a toy, we'll have, like I said, fan interaction with our players. The biggest thing is our players will be accessible. And I think once they get a chance to spend time with our girls, they'll see how awesome they are, how personable they are. And we all know, man, during the holiday spirit, we're all in such a giving and greeting, mood. And I just think basketball has that platform, and we'll try to make sure it's on full display to help anybody that's in need. If there's ever someone that needs something that was called to the office and gets in touch with us, any way we can lend a helping hand, man, because I've been that kid. I've been the kid that got free tickets to go to a game. I've been that kid that, like I said, even though I had a basketball in one hand and a dream in the other, and so many people helped me. So that's something that's near and dear. I've been homeless. So I've been to homeless shelters before and spoke to those, the Boys and Girls Club. Like, those things are so important to me because that's part of my story. And I don't run from it. I used to be embarrassed to talk about it, but it shaped me to where I am today. And at the end of the day, that's a human being, and their soul is as precious as mine, and they just need to be loved and appreciated.
Awesome stuff. And Coach, I love your story. Love that you're on the Bayou representing. Anxious to see you in action. I'll go to games. Chase won't leave his perch in Fort Worth though, but I'll FaceTime him or something.
That's not true, Coach. You will see my wife and I multiple times this season and every season courtside. We love basketball. It's our thing, Tibbs. That was unfair.
Well, yeah, he'll see you because I'll FaceTime and I'll flip the camera and I'll be like, hey, Coach, here's Chase.
That is not true. Coach, do we have a date for the teddy bear game yet? Go ahead.
I said, Chase is coming to get that gear. He's coming.
That's right. That's right. I'll come. That's right. I'll be there, Coach. We'll support. We love the Warhawks men's and women's, so we'll be at both. Don't worry, dude. And I will start looking at you, trying to catch your eye in the middle of the game, like, hey, that hat looks really nice, Coach. You got another one?
Teddy bear game, Chase. Sunday, November 23rd. So right after, I believe that's the Lafayette game, or is that? No, that's after a Texas State game. That'll be the teddy bear game that Sunday against Lamar.
Very cool. We will see you there, Coach.
Can't thank you enough, Coach, as always, for your time, and always love catching up with you. Looking forward to the season and having you back so that we can chop it up a little bit more and celebrate some wins.
Yes, sir. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't say a special shout out to you and Chase for having me on your show, man. Seriously, and promoting women's basketball in our program and the ULM brand. So y'all been phenomenal, first class. I appreciate you guys so much. Seriously.
I think he's talking about me, Chase.
I don't think he's talking about this terrible podcast, but I appreciate it, Coach.
Rock solid.